Eta Ola Dumelang Molweni Abhishek Da to the network and to activate.org. Hi colleagues, my name is Malusi Mazibuko. Once again, 2021, we have also once again embarked on a process where we would like to open up the space and include new sectors. As previously mentioned, the fact that we had previously worked with 5 sectors for a period of about 4 years. So 2021, we basically are opening up the circle. We're not closing up the other sectors, but we basically are involving 5 more sectors. And those sectors are your agriculture sector, climate change, arts and culture, sports and recreation, and your active citizenry. So these are the new sectors that we're going to be embarking upon. And yes, once again, we had a very huge inputs from the network. We had over 500 activators who gave input in terms of what are the sectors that they would like to basically participate in. That was very exciting for us, given the constraints we were working under lockdown. The submissions were done online via the different platforms. This was very encouraging and very supportive of the network. So these sectors, you might ask yourself, why these new sectors? I mean, as I've mentioned, it was not our choosing as Activate, but one key thing that stands out about these 5 new sectors is that they are very reflective of what is the status of young people in the country, and also what is basically a composition of the network itself. We are currently the biggest network in the country with a very young population of young people within our network. If you look at sports and recreation, that particular sector requires young people to actively engage. How do we use sports as a medium of transformation and as a medium of bringing about change in different spaces? As we know, sports has been used in very different ways in terms of bringing social cohesion in different spaces. We know historically in South Africa, sports and recreation has been one of the key pillars that has basically united people from different backgrounds. So that is a very key sector that we're going to be embarking upon. We've got a load of young people within our network who are focused on sports. So hosting tournaments week in, week out, using sports as a key element in terms of bringing about change. If you look at climate change, for the last 2 years, many provinces in our country have basically been under the very tough conditions of drought. Food security is highly dependent on climate change. With climate change being unstable, there's a huge contribution in terms of what we as citizens contribute in the space of climate change. I mean, if you look at it within the township setup, the level of pollution that we are experiencing, not only in township, but even in urban spaces, but how do we basically turn the tide? Because our actions as citizens basically has a huge replicating effect in terms of what comes back to us as citizens. And as I mentioned, food security is one of the key pillars. As you know, week in, week out, with the different seasons, it is always different. It's too cold or it is too hot, depending on which province you are in. If you look at sectors such as the agricultural sector, it is a highly contended sector. We know it's a burning topic in South Africa. The issue of land has always been a topic that we tiptoe around, but it's a sector which has been chosen by young people to say, can we talk about the issue of the land, agriculture? Can young people be involved in the space? And one of our statistics that we found through our research process was that young people are not engaging in the agricultural sector. We want to find out how can we make that better? How can we engage with young people, being the biggest youth network in the country? How can young people be more involved in the agriculture space? This topic, of course, is something that the country as a whole is currently focused on. There's many policies that are being reviewed in this particular process, including our constitution, in terms of how do we, get this topic practically, engaging young people. Not only young people, but the women and the LGBT sector, because we know those are marginalized sectors in our society who do not necessarily have access to the land. If you look at your sector, such as arts and culture is one of the key activities which expresses our identity as individuals. Our identity is shown through the way we engage with arts and culture. Young people are very, very involved in various elements of arts and culture. So that is one of the sectors that we basically will be unpacking. And the strange thing about this sector as well is that in 2018, We had an Imbizo in partnership with KCAP, where we basically had a host of different young people expressing their sentiments to arts and culture. We had celebrities from the entertainment industry who were showing interest of how can they build capacity for those interested to basically venture into the sector. We know the sector also brings over 60 billion in terms of revenue since 2018 to date, giving us an idea that this sector can really be one of the solutions for unemployment. When young people are using arts and culture as means of creating employment and income for themselves, things can be much better. The other sector, which is the final one, which is your active citizenry, this one has a collation of various topics within it. We've already started with some of these topics. One of the biggest ones is corruption, and we know how corruption has basically, hit us very hard, especially during lockdown. We saw the evil side of corruption, that it can really, damage societies and communities. How do we hold government accountable? How do we hold the private sector accountable? These are the only things that we basically want to unpack and find out in detail what exactly it means to be an active citizen. We're also looking into the issues of making local government work. That is also going to be part and parcel of your active citizenry. So colleagues, this is basically some of the sectors, the 5 sectors we're going to be embarking upon as we move into the space of launching these new sectors. I mean, young people are going to be in the forefront in terms of hosting engagements which are going to lead to us hosting hackathons, moving into thought leaders who are going to be sharing some great insights, knowledge, experience. Then those are going to lead on to bigger events such as Imbizo, also having outputs such as campaigns and projects that will be supported. So I hope you will basically be with us in this journey as we unpack and explore more in terms of what do these sectors mean. The content will also be available for you to access through our different social media platforms. On our website, you can also download our publications. Infographics will be coming up, memes, TikTok videos. We are hoping to create a host of different publications that are going to be useful and engaging for young people. Let's remember to sanitize while we engage with these platforms and wear a mask and maintain social distancing. Thank you.